Hey guys, Cool Luigi here, and today we're going to take a look at game number 2 that sIK submitted to us. This is going to be another one of our coaching games here. sIK is playing against Chronoterd, um, the blue Protoss or blue Terran, excuse me, on Scrap Station, and sIK missed the loading screen. And this is kind of funny here. What happens? A little bit of meanness from Chronoterd, I guess. He plays random, which I do as well, so I understand. Occasionally someone says, "Oh, hey, what race are you?" I'm like, I'm not really gonna tell you. So I know where Chronoterd's coming from, but he is not being very nice about it. So, anyways, we are not gonna worry about that right now. You can read the comments if you want to here. This is another interesting game here from our Protoss player sIK, and yeah, you see poor attempt. Really, come on, Chronoterd. People do miss it. I miss races half the time because I'm always tabbed out as well during the loading screen because I'm like loading music or doing something. But this is about a silver level player. Both these guys are about silver, and so that's kind of about where we are skill wise. There you go. Good job queuing up a few probes there. I like that. We're going to see a little bit of, well, we'll get into it here in a little bit. Let me slow it down here just a smidge. Going too fast. Awesome. I love with that. Okay. So we're going to look at a couple things here. Good job, sIK, doing a little bit of proactive scouting. I like that, just to make sure there's no funniness going on. You can do it with a probe or a zealot, totally up to you. sIK is going it's going to be a 3 racks push, basically is what it's going to go. Maybe a 4th if he puts a reactor on the other one. I always like to call those 4 racks builds. And sIK's going to have a pretty good game plan here that works pretty well for him. He's doing much better about keeping the probes queued up in this game so far, which is good. Warp gates on the way. Putting more than just one pylon in the circle of your main buildings. All good stuff. All really important stuff here. Now we have about these 4 Marines coming up here, and they're actually just to secure this tower. And then they're going to go back. I was going to say, I don't like securing the tower with that many. Maybe 2 Marines at tops, but 4 is a little bit much because they get picked off too easily here. Little bit of a pylon block here. sIK, you haven't caught it yet here. Oh, nope, there you go. You just had one go down somewhere. Okay, awesome. So we're going to see a little push here. And then we're going to look at some decisions that came after this push here. This push is not bad for a 5 or 6 minute push. A couple stalkers, a zealot. If you were a little bit better with these warp gates, you might be able to have a couple extra units here, but we can see you are going to pretty fast expand. So, we're still on faster. Awesome. Okay, so here's what's going on. So in this push, you see a fairly decent mix, about 50-50 of Marauders and Marines. The Marauders do almost have concussive shells, but not yet. So you kind of fall back from this. You might have been able to take it, maybe only had 1 Marauder left. Side point, but, possibly. So, I mean, at this point, you know what unit mixture he's going for the early game. He's going, Marauders and Marines. So you need a good mix of Zealots and Stalkers. And we can see here 3 Stalkers warping in, putting your total up to 6. I would much rather have, a Zealot or 2 mixed in there. Just because the fact that, the Zealots will tank some damage, they do very well against Marines. And then the Stalkers are good to keep the Terran army from kiting your Zealots too bad. They make them stay there, they got some decent range, they're good at picking apart weakened units, things like that. So we're going to see a little push here, and a few more warp-ins, which is good. Get some Zealots, I like that, so there's a good mix. So, I mean, this is good. You should be getting all your stalkers involved, not just leaving 3 of them behind. But this is good. You can see he's trying to kite you, and the stalkers are stopping him. Good job, falling back to the rest of your army. That is all superb stuff here. Now, we're going to pause it just for a second and note 2 things. You have a Stargate coming in and a Twilight Council. Your second base is up, but we look in the production tab, you're not making any probes. And another key mistake is you only have one of your Nexus hotkeyed. You need to have them both hotkeyed. The way to do that is just when this air expansion is done, just select it and then shift and press whatever number your Nexus is on. Like you do shift 4 in this case, and that will add it to that group. So once again, you did a very good job about holding off that push here. And you're going to do a little counterattack, which I like. I don't mind at all. You can see he's only got, 6 Marauders and a Marine right now. He's desperately trying to produce enough units to catch up, because that was really only a 2 barracks push. This barracks was up, adding a few Marines in the mix, but he's just adding a reactor out, so never mind, it was a 3. So once again, there is a decent amount of time where you're not making workers. You guys are pretty even, but you still, you have an expansion, so you should have more and more workers here. I don't like that little bit of micro, because you kind of charged and weren't shooting here. Once again, you didn't even need to sacrifice that. His stim was running out. You didn't even need to sacrifice that zealot, so I don't like that. So once again, we've gone about a minute without making any workers. We do have a Void Ray coming out, which it's not a bad tech choice. Seeing that heavy of a Marauder force should give you some pretty well indication that he's not going ground, or he doesn't have tons of Marines which can't shoot at your Void Rays. So I like that. In fact, we're going to see it's really, really good. Some harass here. Nice use of the map. I think he's talking about the Void Rays. I don't know exactly what he's talking about. Apparently Chronoterd didn't know something, but you'll see. Void Ray getting a nice few kills here. The Marauders are going to charge it, but as we all know, Marauders actually don't shoot at the air. So you've basically stopped all mining here. His income's down to nothing. Now, you're still even in Harvesters, and you're on 2 bases, so that's not good. We don't like that at all here. Something that I would do in this instance is actually pick off that reactor. There's nothing that can shoot at the air. Pick off that reactor, and then you'll stop the Marine production. You'll cut it in half. So, and reactors only have 400 health. So, something to note there. I like going for the supply depot too. Trying to supply block them. That's good. If you actually would have started shooting at the Marines right away, you might have been able to take them out, being that far charged. But either way, this is a really good harass. You stopped them mining for a pretty significant amount of time. And, like I said, I would have liked to pick off the reactor. That's totally fine that you did not. So, good job on that one. He's just now getting back to mining. But the thing is, you're only 7 Harvesters behind, and you killed a few. So you weren't making very good use of that push, and also you have, by the way, that I don't like that. You were moving against of attack moving, so you let him get a bunch of free shots, which is why that actually decimated you. That should have been much closer than that, but you were moving instead of attack moving. So whenever you're moving across the map, you have to attack move here. So now he's doing a little bit of damage on his own. You're still fine. You have tons of chrono boosts. You should be using it on these warp gates for faster warp-ins. And don't warp right in front of his army. Warp them kind of hidden away, hide them a little bit so you can get enough up to be able to deal with them. Bringing the Void Ray over here obviously is a good choice. You are losing a fair amount of probes here, but in the unit loss tab, you're behind from that failed push. Basically, put you really far behind here. And on 2 bases, at this point, 15 minutes in the game, you should have more warp gates. Even with going Void Rays and Charge Lots, or the Charge Zealots, you should have like 5 warp gates maybe. At least, maybe even 6. So you have to add those on there because you can see, it's you're trying desperately to rebuild your army, and you're not able to. Once again, trying to do a little bit of harass over here, not bad. You should be able to hold this off relatively easily, and not here. A little bit of micro mistake on your part. If you're gonna, we're actually going to go back here and watch that quick. And I put us on normal here. Hold on, guys. We're backing up just so I can point this out. Just a little bit. Okay, here's what happened. You don't want to run your zealots away. They're melee units. So leave them there. He backs up. Just have him keep running at him. Have him keep backing off, and the stalkers will shoot. Because you ran your stalkers back. They're not shooting. You ran your zealots back. They're not shooting, or they're not stabbing. So I mean, you have to, if you're gonna micro anything, you're gonna micro stalkers around, and have the zealots just keep on charging. Especially when it's relatively easy. Even there, you have your Void Ray coming from reinforcements. So a little bit of mistake there. That comes with learning, But the zealots are mainly there to tank damage, so to let your stalkers get hit still. Once again, with your army this low, we should be using the Chrono boost on your warp gates, trying to get more units in. You should have more warp gates. But the reason you can afford some of those warp gates is because, you weren't producing probes at the correct rate here. You guys are still pretty even on harvesters, but you have both lost some, but you're only making one at a time when you do make workers because you only have your expansion hotkeyed. So huge mistake on there. You can see here your opponent has added on. I thought he added on. No, actually, he hasn't really added on any production buildings, but still, that's 4 barracks to your 3 warp gates. He can still outproduce you even with your Void Rays. So even though he's at 1 base, your production is still less because you only have the 3 warp gates. So, just to note that here. He is getting another nice little ball, little bio ball here, and you're trying to warp in when you can, but you don't have any zealots to tank damage, so I don't like the sentry choice right there. They just get pwned here basically, so bad unit choice right there. When you're that, especially when you're that weak, these Void Rays should be with your army. Void Rays are not just for harass; they do very well mixed in with your army. So I would actually like to see your Void Rays up here, and then you would probably be able to hold that off better because your stalkers would have gone down right away, and your Void Rays would be involved doing damage here. So I mean, overall, this is a good game, good silver level. You're doing a good harass here with Void Rays, but you didn't make probes enough, and that caused you to. You finally hotkeyed your second Nexus, and you should have done that a long time ago here. Also, I don't like research and blink there. You just finished it. When you have 6 stalkers, you want a bigger army before you worry about upgrades, especially when you're on the defensive like this. So I don't like that choice. He does have his expansion up and saturated, so you can see here, income-wise, he's way ahead of you because those mules will help, and you haven't done very good macro making probes. He actually just flew that over to there, which is a viable strategy, I guess. And that just caused you not to be able to add enough production building, so you basically just can't keep up production. Keeping the Void Rays down here this time, but he's macroed up a big enough army where it's not going to matter. And another thing here too is, in a map like this, you need a pylon or a supply depot or whatever, something there, to spot when they're breaking through there. Because here, you lose every single one of your probes, and you're done basically. So you need to have something spotting there. We're totally out of time, so hopefully you appreciate this, Sick. Hopefully it helped. Definitely send me some more replays, and the rest of you guys YouTube, hopefully you enjoyed, and have a Merry Christmas, because it's Christmas, yay! Thanks, guys.